I didn't mean to go live yet. But I hit the button, so I'm live now. It's just the way it's gonna be. Yeah. You guys get a bonus 5 minutes today because I hit the wrong button. I need to take off this nail polish. I have thoroughly destroyed the nail polish. I definitely need to remove it. It's pretty bad. Hi guys. Let me see. My phone's exploding because it's always exploding. What is up with you guys? Anything new? Anything fantastic? This is not my mouse. This is my earbuds. Hi, Cassandra. Hi, Barb. Hi, Katie. Hi, Sierra. Hi, Michelle. Hello, sick Marty. I'm sorry you don't feel good. Marty got her butt kicked by a 4-year-old. Who shared germs? Pretty sure it's that one who shared germs. Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? Do you guys have anything you want to talk about? I figured we would end up talking about where everybody is, where you fall on your journey, brand new to your journey. Been doing this for a decade or more. Nice. Sarah reached 1.7 on your ketones. There we go. I like it very much. Oh, 3.9 ketones. There you go. That's one benefit of being sick and not wanting to eat, I guess. Then you just pump out the ketones. That's awesome. Hello there. I'm sunbathing. Oh, I've been really bad. I haven't been grounding out in the sun lately. I need to. Keto for 5 years. Love it. That's awesome. Still hanging in there. Some good, some not so good. Yeah. Hi, Deborah. Even after taking NyQuil, you stayed in ketosis? Oh my gosh, you must have been really sick to be taking that crap. Whew, that stuff is bad. Was it like the bright red or the bright green stuff too? Oh, we had a little bit of an experiment. The company sent me those Pop-Tarts. I did the video on it. Let the kids have the Pop-Tarts. That was, green nasty stuff. That was interesting. Cassidy was okay. And she continued eating them because I didn't want them to go to waste. So she ate them for 5 days. And then we were all like, done. No more Cassidy. That is enough. She didn't want any more. Hi, Blaze. Bella and Noah immediately could not handle it at all. Noah, within 45 minutes, was crying. Just so overwhelmed, he was crying. And then Bella was like bouncing off the walls. So no more Pop-Tarts. I will not be ordering those again. Cassie started getting really spacey again. Like I'd say something and she just kind of look at me and blink her eyes. Nope, you're done. She goes, yeah, I don't like it. It was rough. So no more Pop-Tarts. I mean, and they were even keto Pop-Tarts. I saw that they had the artificial colors. I was like, you know what? They sent them to us. Let's do a review, which is why down below in the description, I said, be forewarned. It's got stuff. And then his immediate tummy ache after 4 or 5 bites of the stuff. And then Bella had a headache. Yeah. Barb says, even after fasting all afternoon and evening, fasting numbers were not great this morning. What of your numbers aren't good? Is it both of your numbers that aren't good? Dude, I have like a hangnail or something. I'm trying to scratch it off. I need clippers. I don't have any clippers. I'm really insulin resistant. Yeah, only 0.5 ketones after 4 days. Glucose is anywhere between, 95 and 121 in the morning. Yep, that unfortunately is just going to take time to heal. The more insulin resistant you are, the longer it's going to take. I'm going to meet some carnivore legends tomorrow. Very cool. Glucose was 99. I was 1.4 ketones. Honestly, there are some people who would kill for 1.4 ketones. I'm not even joking. They would potentially commit murder for those because they're like 0.3, 0.5. So 1.4 is actually pretty good. That's not bad. I know it's not as high as you want. I totally get that. Are you doing the tea at night? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, Chrissy, took me over 3 years to heal my insulin resistance. It can take a really long time. It depends on how much damage there is, how sick your body is. This is definitely not a quick fix in any way, form, or fashion. This is a long haul protocol, whether you're in it for the weight loss or if you're in it for the healing. I'm usually gaming at this time on Thursdays nights to catch you live since I'm home today. Yes, it was. Oh my gosh, this is going to drive me nuts. I'll have to flag my husband down and have him bring me some clippers because that actually hurts. Wet tea. I recommend. Oh, I know. Ooh, yeah. The doctor is going to be upset if your glucose gets over 95. Yeah. And you could try to educate your doctor about the fact that you are clearing out your fatty liver and that requires clearing out the stored glycogen. I mean, if you said that to some doctor, they might be like, wait, what? You'd be like, well, how do you think you clear out a fatty liver? You have to empty the stores. In order to empty the stores, they have to go somewhere. And unfortunately, I don't have little spaceships that are going to like zap it from one place over to my urine and just get rid of it right away. Unfortunately, I have to burn it because that's the only way to get rid of my stores. So that might make your doctor go, huh? And then you could probably tell him, give me 6 months. Can we retest in 6 months? Because I am clearing out my liver right now of the glycogen stores. He's probably going to think you're crazy. But if you were to say that, she might kind of go, okay, maybe we'll see. If you seem to know what you're talking about, even if they don't fully understand it, they'll generally, hi Marina, they'll generally go, okay, I'll give you 6 months. We'll retest in 6 months. And then if your numbers are, sky high in 6 months, then you can talk to them. Oh, good. So the tea that I am referring to is a fatty bedtime tea. And it's kind of a little hack that seems to help with people who are having a hard time making ketones. Because Dr. Boz talks about it in her books, about there's some people that their bodies just do not make ketones well. And so you really have to up the fat in your diet to be able to get that. But a lot of people get really full and satiated when they're eating fat. So what do? This is where the fatty coffees and the bedtime tea can come in very handy. It's 1 bag of tea of your choice. I like the honey vanilla chamomile. You could do sleepy time, anything that has no caffeine in it. You could any caffeine-free herbal tea is fine. So it's 1 bag of tea. You're going to steep that until it's as potent as you'd like it. Squeeze it out. If you have chickens, save it, give it to your chickens. Give the tea leaves to the chickens. If you don't, then you can just throw it away, or you can send them to me and I'll give them to my chickens. And then I add 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. And then if you feel like sweetener, you can do a couple of drops of a stevia sweetener so that it doesn't have any of the sugar alcohols that you don't want to be consuming, and blend that up with an immersion blender or a stick blender or a little frother. Sorry. And what that does is it has the 3 lengths of triglycerides in that combination of fats. So the butter has a lot of short chain fatty acids, and then the coconut oil has medium chain triglycerides it's only like 15% of medium chains in coconut oil itself. The other 85% is going to be long chain triglycerides. So those take a lot longer to go through your system because they have to go through your entire digestive system before they can cross over to your liver to begin making ketones. If you're having a problem with your morning numbers, your glucose, there's only so much we can do about the glucose because you have to empty out those liver stores to be able to, your body is spring cleaning. Marty, you don't even have to do tea. You could do hot water. You could do decaf. I've also seen some people really like to use the chocolate element. You can make yourself a hot cocoa as well with some cacao powder. Throw that in there as well. But what that does is it sets your body up because those long chain triglycerides can take up to like 8 hours to actually be converted into ketones because we know, from the charts we've seen how long it takes for our fat to actually be consumed. It's like 6 to 10 hours. It depends on you personally. But what you do is you fuel your body with all of these fatty acids so it can turn them into ketones while you are sleeping. You wake up in the morning and start checking your numbers. And yes, your glucose is probably going to be screwy because you're emptying out your liver, but your ketones for a lot of people end up going up in the morning. And that's because you literally drank that tea just before you went to bed. And, there's a lot of people are like, oh, I'm trying to fast. Now, Chrissy says, I gave up my teas and then the ketones started. There are some teas that can affect people negative ways that can actually prevent you from making ketones. For me, it is like the best aid ever. And I've had a bunch of people in my Mighty network and on my Facebook page that have tried it and it works for them, but it doesn't work for everybody. But I figure you can try it to see how it goes. If it helps you and it gives you a boost in those morning numbers, and then that encourages you, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good thing. But there are some people that just do it with hot water. They will literally just do hot water. They'll do like 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of coconut oil just so that it goes a little bit further. You can add a little bit of vanilla or the English toffee stevia to give it a little bit more flavor. And then the element. Yeah, I already said that. He's signing something to me. Lemon? You think lemon and butter and coconut oil would taste good? Yeah, no. I don't think that lemon packet in that would be good. The bedtime, the fatty tea. No, he's just waking up. He's not caught on to what I'm saying yet. No. The whole purpose is the fatty part of the tea. He's sticking his tongue out at me.
So it's not just plain hot water.
Yes. Also, the potential for if the tea does not work for you or if you're just not a fan of tea, the Bedtime Fat Bombs actually work really well too. So what you can do is you can I like coconut oil and butter mixed together. I hate the texture of melted and resolidified butter. Can't do it. That's a big fat nope. So I just soften mine and mix it together as it's soft to the best of my ability. Like I'll use a little hand mixer. And then you can add a little bit of, again, the sweeteners if you want. I really prefer you stick with stevia because that way it doesn't have those sugar alcohols. We don't want to be messing with those just before bedtime. A little bit of stevia is okay, unless you're getting off of all your sweeteners and get off all your sweeteners. You could add some peppermint essential oil. Some people do a little bit of chocolate extract as well. So you can make like almost an Andes mint with it. You could put some cocoa powder in it. You could put some cinnamon in it. It just depends on how it affects you personally. So, but the fat bombs are absolutely another option to help you kind of boost your morning numbers. But the butter and the coconut oil, the combination of all three of those chains, those triglyceride chains, the short, the medium, and the long, helps you get through the entire night with a larger dose of ketones. So that's just kind of my personal trick. Assuming eventually I'm going to have to give it up because my ketones are going to stop, and then I'm going to have to actually start fasting. True fasting, because I'm not true fasting right now. The other day I did a not true fast. I did a dirty fast. Let me see. My blood sugar the other morning was 98. Yep, that's awesome. Let me see. Lisa says that approximately 23 minutes to discuss eating protein and carbs versus protein and fat. Very good information in that interview. Oh, yes, that was the one from Dr. Chaffee. I always say it wrong. The hard science of your metabolism on keto, carnivore, and carbs with Ben Bickman. I love Ben Bickman. Got stuff stuck in my throat. That's pretty funny. But yeah, Barb, hopefully your doctor will be like, okay, I'll give you 6 months. We'll see what happens. We'll see. So that's what I would honestly go and just be like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm cleaning out my liver. So herbal teas or teas in general or always affect your ketones. Yeah, there's some people that they absolutely do affect. So I say try it. If it doesn't work, switch over to the fat bombs. Yeah, Marty, don't do tea. Do element. You're good. I won a free blood ketone meter from Keto Sons at KetoCon in Austin. Still no glucose meter, though. That's awesome. Congratulations. The glucose meters are cheaper, like quite a bit cheaper. And sometimes you might be able to get a doctor to prescribe you one, too. What do you think of taking Dr. Buz's MCT, C8, C10 soft gels instead of the tea? So the thing with MCT is that it's all medium chain triglycerides. Those do not go through your system. There's a little trap door up at the very top of your digestive tract, and it opens up, and the short chains and the long chains can go through that, and they go directly to the liver, and they're immediately turned into ketones. The long chain, which is 85% of the coconut oil, will make it through your system very, very, very slowly over those 6 to 10 hours. So when you wake up in the morning, you have those ketones. The MCT capsules are going to give you ketones in an hour, but it's not going to be 8 hours later. So it will help you in the beginning, but not in the morning. So that's why I've started including the coconut oil, because that's the one that's going to give you the longest haul for your ketones, basically. Teas are often dehydrating for many, and this effect is messing up my ketones. Yeah, everyone has their own personal chemical balance in their body, and you have to figure out what yours needs and how it needs it delivered. Because even if your body needs magnesium, but you take the tiniest little bit and it makes you shoot fire water out your back end, you have to find a different method to attaining that, which could be the Epsom salt floats at a spa. So you have to, or like magnesium oil, you have to find other ways of doing things sometimes, because our bodies don't play nice. They just don't. I would love to say that 90% of people who go low carb heal. 90% of people who go low carb, they might heal some things, but not everything by far. So that is fantastic. And thank you for, saying that they mess you up and they don't work for you. I love it when people tell me, I tried that, it didn't work. I really, truly do. Because if I'm talking about something that worked for me and nobody else is saying it didn't work for them, then everyone's going to assume that it's going to work for them too. But it doesn't. And this is why we have this misnomer that all of these people on YouTube and all these influencers, that if we just do what they do, then it will work. Because nobody is on the sideline going, I tried what you did, it didn't work. And I think that that is really, really important, because we need people to realize that they aren't alone. Everybody feels so alone. They feel like they're the only ones that are failing to get the results that everyone else is promising. But I think it's actually the opposite. I think that there's a much smaller percent of people who are getting all of these results than there are the ones who are struggling. So I want to hear from the misfit toys. I want to hear from the people that it doesn't work for. So, Chrissy, thank you for sharing your struggles. I love it. Making sneaky carnivore meatloaf for the family. That's because you are a genius. Yes, you are. Being so damaged by insulin resistant that any carbs over 5 grams and teas throw off my ketones. Yep, exactly. I love it. Hi, Bonnie. I made a double batch of Cheesecake Fat Bombs last week, which haven't been made since I stopped keto at the end of 2019. They were delicious. My husband couldn't keep his hands off of them. That is why I have not made any of those. I can't touch the cream cheese. I can't do any of that. Those actually, the dairy affects my husband's over here like, where's mine? Come on, woman, where's mine? The dairy actually really affects my ketones and things like that. Hi, Tara, I swear. Let me see. Okay, love me some carnivore meat loaf and or meatballs. I do. I just can't eat too much of it because it'll just put me way over on my protein, and I like, y'all, I'm so weird. I like my meatloaf with melted cheese and sour cream because it tastes like tamales. I told my husband that he looked at my meatloaf. He goes, "What are you doing?" Because I took cheese and I like piled the cheese on and melted it. And then I put sour cream and salt on top of that. And I was eating it. He was just like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "It tastes like a tamale." And he goes, "There's no way." So he took a bite and he goes, "It tastes like a flippin' tamale." So if I eat meatloaf, that's the way I want to eat it. And I can't do that. I can't do the cheese and the sour cream as much as I'd like to. I think you do better with decaf coffee and butter, but sometimes I feel like I'm relying on the added fats too much. It's a 6-week process before you stop relying on the fats. If you remember Dr. Boz's continuums right here, it says 4 to 6 weeks while you're adapting over to this way of eating. And then at the advanced 16-8, this is after like 4 to 6 weeks. This is a while into it. Then you clean up your morning drink. And it says, don't remove the fat from your morning drink before this phase. You need it to get here. It actually says that right there. This is on weeks like 8, 10, because you're supposed to spend at least 2 weeks in every single one of these continuums. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this would be at the end of 10 weeks. If you were to spend 2 weeks like she recommends in every single continuum, you're not removing the fat from your coffee until 10 weeks. This is not a super fat. This is not a rush it. This is a step by step. You have to build the foundation to be able to take you higher. That is the only way that this is going to work, because if you try to rush this and you do not fully refill all of your hormones and you're starting to balance things and refilling all of the things that you've been lacking because we've been low fat or lower fat for too long, you're not going to get the results that you need. So keep the added fat for 10 weeks. That is the goal, is the added fat in the coffee for 10 weeks, or the coffee or the tea or the fat bombs or whatever you need to do. So seriously, don't rush it. That's actually a totally good thing to do. We all go, oh, I wish I could just, but maybe I should fast. I should fast. No, you shouldn't. You're not yet, not until your body tells you that you're ready. And that's one of the continuums. It says it usually happens naturally. You accidentally skip a meal. Well, when I'm only eating 1 meal a day, I accidentally skipped my meal. I wasn't hungry, so I didn't eat. Blaze says, I like the Dr. Boz MCT. I bite them and spit out the capsule because I can't swallow capsules. Mm-hmm. Any have a favorite CGM? I use the Keto Mojo. Blaze really likes the Fora 6, I think is the one that she has, if she hasn't already answered. I should probably catch up before I speak for her. Blaze is one of my VIPs over in my Mighty Network. This is why I know her so very well. I'm out of electrolytes. That is very unfortunate. Sounds good. Meatloaf today too. Pork panko, Parmesan cheese. I have a fantastic meatloaf recipe on YouTube. It's kind of old, but it's a really, really good one. So, yeah, it's there though. In Iodine Crisis, page 160, first paragraph, Don's story, he says he did the salt loading by putting salt in gelatin capsules. Do you think it can be done as an alternative to the salty water? Yes, you absolutely can. What you would do is you would put the salt into the capsules, swallow it down with your warm water, your 4 ounces of warm water, because as soon as that hits your stomach, those capsules are going to pop. So I wouldn't recommend doing it on an empty stomach because the salt always made me nauseous. But that would, oh, you're right. That isn't a CGM. Where's the one I thought of? CGM. I just went through a bunch of them the other day in the Mighty Network, actually. What was the one that was actually not free, but it was cheaper? Remember I showed you guys the coupons. I can't remember. I think I just got an email from them. Libra Freestyle. See? That's why I love Blaze. She's my virtual assistant. Yeah, so the Libra Freestyle was the one you did not need a prescription for, and it was way cheaper because like NutriSense has one and there's some other ones that have some, but you actually end up paying 4 times as much because they give you a coach that comes with it. Nutritionist. I don't want your opinion. I just want my numbers. So yes, the Libra Freestyle. Thank you, my dear. But yes, okay, so back to the salt loading. You would be able to do that, take the salt capsules and do it with warm water. It'll immediately pop them. And then you're still going to want to chase it with the cool water because it's going to go into your system, be absorbed immediately, followed by the fresh water that's going to flush it down your system so that you can try to grab a bunch of that bromide and shuttle it down to your kidneys so that it can be peed out. I will say this, they do recommend Alka-Seltzer Gold for people who are having an extremely hard time detoxing. But I want to caution you with that. The Alka-Seltzer Gold is going to add a lot of alkalinity to your system, to your stomach specifically. This can cause a reduction in the acid that is in there, so you're not going to be digesting things very well. I bought some Alka-Seltzer Gold. I have it in my pantry because I'm like, I got it, but I just never could bring myself to take it because I was really worried about lowering the pH or raising the pH of my stomach. Sorry, making it more alkaline. So I didn't take it. I never did. But for people who are having a hard time, or maybe you aren't worried about it, or you have some HCl, which I can't take because I have the H. pylori. So until I deal with that, if you have H. pylori, you're not supposed to take apple cider vinegar, any kind of vinegar, the HCl, the hydrochloric acid tablets. Not supposed to do any of that because it will make it explode. It feeds it. Isn't that nice? Yeah. I just got the Dr. Boz ketone capsules. When is it best to take them? Will they keep me awake at night if I try now? Possibly. Some people get a major boost of energy from their ketone supplements. Some people don't. Some people take them just before they go to bed and they sleep even better when they take those ketone capsules or the drink or whatever. So it totally depends on you. You could try it, and if you don't go to sleep until 3 o'clock in the morning, then you'll know that you have a time limit in which you can actually take your capsules. I have to go. Sorry, Michelle. Let me see. Pork rinds and eggs, no cheese, light seasoning, thyme, garlic, onion powder, and beef broth. I'm still having, for that meatloaf. I'm still having dairy. May have to try the tamale meatloaf. Oh, it's so good. So good. And I put the sauce on top of it still, so it has that tang to it. Because, tamales have sauce and meat. So I still put the meatloaf topping on it. And then, yeah, it's really good. Hi, Allie. I'm still seeing fasting blood glucose in the 90s, but ketones are good. Still clearing out the glycogen and fat stores. Amazing that while I was higher protein, I assumed I was good and stopped checking. It's funny because it's sneaky. Because we really think, oh yeah, I'm really low carb, and that's the only thing that affects my blood sugar, right? No. My husband has the fatty liver to prove otherwise. Yeah, CGM. Wow. I'm so used to people asking me which ketone meter that I like. Levels is a program that will prescribe a CGM. There was another one, like Steady MD. You could go through them for like $15. They would write you the prescription, but I think the script was still like whatever meter it was still more expensive than the Freestyle. I could be wrong, but yeah. So Steve from Serious Keto said it was good. So do that. That's all I got. I haven't tried any of them. I should again someday. Okay, so then this talk about Freestyle, all that. My company just sends a wellness survey, and the first question asks is if I had my 4 servings of fruit and veggies. I would say yes, because whatever animal that I ate consumed the fruits and veggies, and by proxy, I am getting my fruits and veggies. Thank you. Yeah, I don't even, especially for work, they get so fussy at you and you risk losing life insurance. So I say yes. Yes, I did get my fruits and veggies. It was in the form of cow or rabbit or pig or chicken. My chickens love fruit and they love veggies. So I say yes. That's my workaround for that. Making dinner and listening at the same time. Nice. Multitasking. Faith says, I have a regular blender. Can I mix a fatty coffee with this instead of an immersion one? You can. If it's plastic, just be aware that anything over, I think it's 160, a little bit of the plastic will leach into the coffee, into the hot liquid. But if it's glass, be careful so that it doesn't shatter or break. Most of them are tempered, but I have had blenders shatter on me before from hot liquids. I think it happened once because I poured it in there. It was too hot. But if you've got your egg in there and you've got your 2 other things, blending down in the bottom, and then you very slowly pour it in, it should be okay. And you could always preheat the glass. So you can put it under the hot tap water and warm it up on the inside before you put everything else in there, and then pour your coffee in, and that will help, just so that it's not like a really cold glass that gets shocked by hot coffee, because even the tempered ones can't handle that. But yes, absolutely, totally doable. No nonsense whatsoever. NutriSense provides a CGM. Oh yeah, no, they're the ones that they told me that I shouldn't stay keto and or carnivore, and that I needed to reincorporate carbs. Yeah. So not helpful. And that was their keto carnivore trainer that told me that. I never answer the surveys related to my health. It's none of their business, but they believe it's their business. So if you don't answer it, then they make it their business. So much fun. Let me see. Oh, Keto Mama. Hi, making dinner. What's for dinner? I know you have to stop making dinner to answer that question. So for lunch, I actually ate today. I had a fatty coffee, and then I had black coffee. I had like 4 ounces of black coffee, and then I put that down because then I started doing homeschool with the kids and did never pick it back up again. And then I made pork belly for myself with very light seasoning. Y'all, the Redmonds, I don't think I can handle the Redmond salt. They're seasoned salt. Like the salt is fine, but the seasoned salt. My ankles are starting to swell every time I have it. So annoying. But I put a little bit of Redmond's seasoned salt on there, and then I put some regular salt on there as well because darn it, I wanted the flavor. So, I get to make that choice. So I had about 4.5 ounces of that. And then I had 2 chicken skins. There's chicken thigh skins. Chicken thigh skins downstairs. I
Got it.
finally I fried them up in the air fryer with Redmond seasoning salt because I wanted it. Dagnabbit. So I had some of those. I had 2 of those. What, baby? Addict. I'm totally an addict to Redmond seasoned salt. It's so frustrating. Like, it's the only thing I can think of that's doing it. I mean, it could just be pork, period. But I had bacon the other day. I had bacon bits and I was fine. There was absolutely no swelling. Bacon's already flavored, so I didn't bother adding any Redmonds to it. But the pork belly that I get is completely unflavored, so I add the seasoned salt to it. Yeah. So I may just decide, screw it, and I'm going to eat what I want to eat. And oh well. Lemon chicken thighs, cauliflower, and angel eggs. Very, very nice. I like it. I'm gonna tip this down just a tiny bit so I can chill. So I had that. I made my girls marinated chicken breasts. I have not done that recipe yet. I really should do that recipe. I used thighs, not chicken breasts though. I got the regular thighs from the store, ripped off the chicken skins so that I get the chicken skins, and then deboned them and chopped them up into little cubes. They like the breast better, but I wanted the chicken thigh skin, so I made it work. They still don't have the smoked salt. Yeah. Yeah. The bacon is cured. So for some people, that's the difference. But yeah, so it could be the pork or it could be the Redmonds. But I pretty much poisoned myself with Redmonds today. I'm gonna look at oh yeah, my ankles are swollen. Oh well, I don't care right now. So I had those, and then I did have some bites of the chicken thigh, the marinated chicken thigh. It's really good. It's like a tangy version of the mushroom chicken from Panda Express, but it's got balsamic vinegar in it, so it has that little bit of tang to it. You could probably leave the balsamic vinegar off and it would taste an awful lot like the Panda Express mushroom chicken. It was really good. So I had probably 7 bites of that dipped in the sauce. My protein is pretty darn low today. And for some reason, Chronometer pooped out. That's why I had to go back to Carb Manager for the day because it couldn't keep up. Let me see. Right now, my protein is at 34 grams. My fat is at, nope, I got to fix that. And then I ended up having another fatty coffee later. The coffee that I never finished drinking, I went ahead and turned into a fatty coffee and then drank that as well. So right now my protein is at 41. My fat is at 108. And I am at 4 total carbs for the day. Oh, good. I'm glad that Redmond's is going to have the smoked salt again. The chef's blend, I think, is my favorite. I think so. I think that's my favorite. Let me see. I have been fiddling with my morning fatty coffee. Was doing a pat of butter, a splash of MCT oil. This morning I put a pat of butter and 3 cocoa butter wafers. You know, so many people love the cocoa butter nibs or the wafers. It's just not my thing. I have 2 bags of the stuff and I'm like, no, I'm good. Maybe if I added it to everything else, maybe I would like it. I might try it tomorrow. I might try that tomorrow because I have those and I want to use them. I don't want to waste them. I ate a chicken thigh today and realized after I subtracted the weight of the bone that I had more protein than I thought I did. I'm only allowed 20 more grams. I honestly have gotten to the point where everything that I consume is just so fatty and it's got very little protein in it. I actually might go do a stop. No. I might go do a can of sardines because I still have, I think I've got that much left. Let me plug it in and see. Seasoned sardines in olive oil. See, they say half cup drained, but I don't drain it. So yeah, it's not drained. I don't drain it. I eat it directly out of the can with a sprinkle of the lemon packets, the True Lemon, and salt. And I'll just eat it right out. So good. I think I'm going to do that. And if I do that for dinner, that'll bring me to 63 grams of protein, which is still leaving me room for some yolk waffles. Hi, Ayana. Nibs? No nibs. No. So I might have a can of sardines later. That actually sounds really good. It does. I like it. I think it sounds fantastic. I've had 2 fatty coffees today. How's that going for you? And no food, but if I don't get my hands on some serious food soon, I'm going to be in a bad way. Yep. But yeah, I know how much meat I can eat now. And as long as I eat a ton of fat with it too, then I'm good. I'm satiated. At the beginning, it was lots of cheese, and now it's like butter. Hi, Ayana. Okay, start from the beginning. Yeah, so you can jump in anytime, and I'll go back to that topic. Let me see, because I've only been going for 42 minutes. Put me on fast. Like, speed it up, girl. I have seen posts. Oh yeah, there's lots of people that are trying Chronometer today, and it's not working. Maybe we overwhelmed the system, or they were running an update and just picked a really bad time. I don't even know. Yeah, it crashed for a little while. I kept trying to get on, so I messaged one of my friends. I was like, "Can you get on Chronometer?" She was like, "Nope." I said, "Okay, good." I opened a can of skinless, boneless, finless sardines in olive oil and tossed them into my tuna salmon salad. That sounds fantastic. Was mixing the sardines with some mayo anyhow. Why not? Exactly. Like I just took the tuna and I replaced it with sardines. Because tuna, I had someone comment because I said you really, in one of my videos, I said you really don't want to consume large fish very often because the larger the fish, the longer it has been in the ocean and the more of the toxins and mercury and all of those things it's been absorbing and storing in its meat. Because tuna, 130 pounds is the average size of a tuna fish. The yellowfin tuna are gigantic. Salmon, the average size is 8 to 12 pounds. So there's a huge difference between that, and this is averages, but there's a huge difference, no pun intended, between the salmon and the tuna. Because I was eating salmon and someone was like, well, you said don't eat big fish. Salmon isn't technically a big fish. The tuna is. Well, sardines and mackerel and anchovies and all of those are very small. They're very little fish. Because of that, they have not been around as long, so they do not collect all of the toxins and the microplastics and things like that are floating around in the water, because they're just not alive that long. So those are the ones, if you can eat the smaller fish, they are healthier for you. So any big fish that you can replace, with a small one, then do it. Mackerel, totally good. Herring is another one that I think I've seen a lot of people do. Anchovies are just a big fat nope for me. You want anchovies? You do anchovies. You have fun. I can't do it. But the sardines, the seasoned brand sardines in olive oil are my favorite ones. I really like those. I had to stop fatty coffee to go to just black. My weight went up 10 pounds since starting high fat. I believe I need to get ketones and I can to get into ketosis because the higher fat doesn't seem to work at the moment. Karen, have you had your iron and ferritin levels checked? Out of curiosity. Because the people who are gaining and it's not working for, the theme seems to be that they have very poor iron and low ferritin levels. That's a theme. I actually had one lady that's in my Mighty network, and I told her last night, I was like, you probably need to stop. You need to stop doing Dr. Boz's protocol until you get because her ferritin and iron were extremely low. It's like, you need to stop. You can actually hurt yourself. You need to stop. So I'm just wondering if you've had those checked. Because the people who are gaining weight like that, there's a reason, because that's not supposed to happen. So when that happens, there is something else physiologically going on that you have to kind of sleuth out. I'm still not a fan of sardines. Don't do sardines. Do herring. Do mackerel. Do something else. There you go. See? Mackerel. I don't have a Mojo. Just got the pea strips last night at Walmart, and this morning it was a very light pink. Having such a hard time. Yes, ferritin checked every 3 months because of type 2, but it's been since March. Been wet since March. Normal since March. Having such a hard time trying to force myself to try the sardines. Only get the ones in the oil. Do not get the ones, or you could do oil or the hot sauce. Do not get the ones in water. They smell like sardines. They taste like sardines. And one of the recommended things is, if you want to get a healthier oil, you can get the ones in water and then add your own MCT oil. That's fine eventually. But when you're first starting and you're trying to build up your stamina, your tolerance to them, get the ones in olive oil, because the smell is like super suppressed. So, yeah, that helps a lot. Let me see. It's going fast now. I know, love having 2 fatty coffees plus 1 fatty minus the coffee, hot water instead. The only reason that works out is because of 3 to 4 tablespoons of heavy cream. Nice. Guess I'll have a big, medium, and tiny fish salad. That's awesome. I love it. To me, the sardines and olive oil taste like Van de Kamp's fish sticks. I love them. Like, I seriously really do. That's what I'm going to eat later when I go downstairs. Wild caught in cold water sockeye salmon for the win. Agreed. Oh, yeah. That's true. Cut the pea strips in half lengthwise, and then you'll double the amount of strips you have. They last a lot longer. Blaze says, no to fish, coffee, or tea. You can take my share for me. I will take everyone's share of liverwurst that they don't like. You're going to have to fight Tina over it. Tina likes the liverwurst too. You two can duke it out. Ferritin checked. Okay, yes. What can I do with all the egg whites that I don't use anymore? I live alone. I put mine in 1 cup measurements into the freezer in Ziploc bags. I don't have enough mason jars or any other containers for that matter to freeze them in. So I do the Ziploc bags, and that works out really well for us, because then if I'm going to make bread, I can just pull one of those out, let it thaw out, and add yolk powder. I made my own yolk powder to see if I liked it better for the waffles, and I'm not as much of a fan. I like the fresh yolks better. So that's what I do. I freeze them for later because it's a great source of protein. I'm not about to throw any source of protein away right now. Thank goodness the recipes are coming down a tiny bit. Like the prices are coming down a little bit on some stuff, not everything. But yeah, so let me see. The pea strips don't show any change when I get up in the morning. Could it be because I get up 1 to 2 times in the middle of the night? You're probably still not in ketosis. If your pea strips, I mean, either that, the pea strips are only good for 90 days. They are not guaranteed to last past that once opened because the solution that's on the little pads can dry out. So it's recommended to replace them after 90 days. If they're older than that, then you should just replace them no matter what. If you are still not making ketones at this point in time, depending on how long it's been, it can take up to a month for some people to make their own ketones. Making sure that your protein and your carbs are in check and under control, making sure that you are getting enough fat. And I don't mean double the amount of protein and eat that. I mean like satiated with fat a lot, plenty, like 2 to 3 times the amount of protein that you're eating. Yes, you could freeze them in ice cube trays and put them in a baggie. That would be perfect. But making sure, because fat is what is turned into ketones. The thing is, when you are insulin resistant, when your insulin is always high because you're insulin resistant, in the presence of insulin, your ketones are going to be low. When your ketones are low and your insulin is high, you're not going to burn your own body fat to make ketones right now. That is going to take a little while to do. You can make it do that if you were to do the longer fasts. But again, if we're going to go off of this thing, we're not rushing it. It is 10 weeks for us to get to an advanced 16-8 on our eating schedule. The fasting, the 36-hour fasts, we're not going to start that for months. So don't rush it. Don't force yourself into making ketones using your stored body fat by fasting, because you can cause problems and damage to yourself by trying to force those fasts. We're always wanting to get the immediate results, and we want things to go right away, and we want the healing. And this is a very long haul process. This is not a quick fix. Oh yes, Karen says your ferritin is a normal range. That's one of the things that I've seen. But if you are very insulin resistant, that's part of it too, because you have increased the fat. That if you're insulin resistant, you have high levels of insulin. Insulin will always tell your body to store, not burn. Always. That is what insulin does. So sometimes you have to go a little bit slower. You have to be a little bit more patient. When I have Dr. Boz on my channel again, I'm going to talk to her about the people who are gaining weight as well. Be like, there are people who are doing this and they're gaining weight, and they're not over consuming. Like, what about those people? So I'm definitely going to bring that up as well. Let me see. Jennifer, where can you get blood tests done without a doctor's prescription? There's a lot of them that you can order with at-home labs. And I'm not sure the names of the companies. I haven't really used them. But if you just Google, lab tests at home, it should pop up with some that you can pay for out of pocket. And then they will run the tests and give you the results. Obviously, you won't have a doctor that's going over anything with you, but that should absolutely be a possibility. They can't do all of them. There's some that only doctors can prescribe, request, and because they have to be able to go over them with you, because these are not things that you can just willy-nilly, try to change what you're going to do. You need actual doctor supervision for some of those. So that, but that is an option. Dr. Boz actually has a bunch of labs that you can order, like an A1C and vitamin D now, things like that. I compromised by having sashimi a couple of nights ago. The only fish I like is raw. I love sashimi. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. Went to the doctor's today and she ordered labs. I asked if she would order ferritin and total iron binding capacity, and she did. Good. That's awesome. Coming in late. Good to see you. Hi, Roseanne. No doctor has ever checked that on me. They don't. They don't like to. They don't want to because they don't see that it brings health. It just is not part of their purview always. I like the Wild Planet sardines in oil. They are lightly smoked. Ooh, I bet those are good. Does Neely use cooked egg whites in her ice cream recipe? Lindsay does. I know Lindsay does. Neely might. I haven't seen Neely really do a whole lot of the ice cream recipes, though. Lindsay's the one that does a lot of the ice cream recipes, which we're recording tomorrow, by the way. We have our Fab 4 recording tomorrow. So that'll be fun. The only way to know if insulin is high is by glucose reading, right? No. You need the combination of glucose and ketones because your glucose is just one half of the picture. It's actually the ratio between the two that gives you an indication of what your insulin is doing. You have to see the two because you could have really high glucose and really high ketones, or you could have really low glucose and really low ketones. You can never assume that because you have low of one, you have high of the other. So it's the ratio between the two. You want to divide the big number by the small number, and whatever that number is, that gives you an indication of what your insulin is doing. I just ordered the comprehensive anemia iron and ferritin tested. The link on Crystal Moore. Oh, Crystal Moore is the name of the lady who was who Neely recommended for the iron, the low iron problems. Found her from, yes, Neely, exactly. I think my ferritin was checked regularly because of type 2 and I was on high insulin, but not sure if that was why. Some doctors actually understand the importance of ferritin and iron. Question, did you get kind of sick at the stomach when you started the salt mineral in your water? Oh, yeah. I don't like it in my water at all. Not even a little bit. It upsets my stomach really, really poorly, like really bad. So I do not put salt in my water at all. The only way I'll do that is if I'm drinking electrolytes, and then I salt my food, but I can't take capsules. I can't, I could do the salt loading protocol with the 1/4 teaspoon, but anything over that and I will want to hurl. It's bad. What does kippered mean? I don't know. Doctors don't normally run iron and ferritin unless asked or if something is not normal. I love that they wait until there's a problem before they go, we should figure this out. Let me see. How would you know if your GM is giving correct reading? I have tried with 2 meters and each gave different reading. One gave 87 and 64. That's a really big range. So I do. I have it right here. They should come with a solution. And if you, these little solution bottles, that's what these are for. One is ketones and one is glucose. You can kind of see them. So what you would do is you need to put a drop of this onto like a plate or something like that so that it's not coming directly from the bottle. You don't want to do that. And you also don't want to touch it or anything. But you would then put a glucose strip into your meter and you would check it. This will read it and it'll say, hey, this is a test strip, right? And you're going to say, it'll confirm. It'll have like the little test strip symbol. And then you would see if it's within range. It should be. And now what stinks about these things is that if you actually look at the box or the package, the range for these is huge. Like it is from 94 to 144. So it's really hard to know how accurate these things are. And when you ask them, and if you contact them and they say, oh, well, there's a range. I understand that there's a range, why does it differ so much from other meters? And there really isn't a whole lot of an answer on that. So what I suggest, pick one and stick with it. Just like with your tracking app, just like with, hi Sherry, you're so sweet. I hope you're feeling better. But whether you're weighing your food raw or cooked, pick one and stick to it. Always use the same scale, always use the same DEXA scan, always use the same, all of that stuff, so that you get consistent readings. You have to understand that no matter what it is, whether it's your glucose, whether it's your tracking app, whether it's your scale, it's an estimate. It's close. It's never, ever, ever going to be exact, ever. They can tell you on Chronometer, it's lab tested. So we can guarantee that this is what is in this food. Have you ever seen ribeyes that look the same? Never once in my life have I ever seen two identical ribeyes. Even if they're side by side, they have different marbling. They're going to have different compositions, different everything. No two people are the same. No two foods are the same. No two avocados. It's an estimate. So pick which one you like best and stick with it. So if the lower one makes you feel happy, then just stick with that one. It's totally fine. Sherry says, been in high ketosis for 6 weeks. However, I had oral surgery on Monday. My teeth have been destroyed over 2 millimeters in 8 weeks. Thoughts on why? That is crazy for it to be like that. Is it from the cellulitis? Can that affect your teeth? Because I know it can affect your bone. I would think with all the stuff that you're on that wouldn't be the case. But I wonder, that's very interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Let me know. Could it be from the cellulitis? No, it's in another location. Let me see. So Sherry usually eats tons of egg yolks, bone marrow, bone broth. I don't know. She doesn't track. The problem is I don't know how much protein you're eating every day. You might need to up your protein a little bit. I mean, you're getting it in the egg yolks, but teeth are like half calcium, our bones are half calcium, half protein. So I kind of wonder if maybe you would need to up the protein a little bit. No bacon. She's not supposed to have bacon. Bison, maybe up it a little bit. I eat between 5 and 6 ounces of meat a day, and then the rest of it's all fat. Depends on how many eggs I'm going to have. If I'm going to have eggs, then I only do about 4, because I do whole eggs right now for the most part. I'll add yolks here and there, but maybe you should try like 4 ounces of bison. Just 4 ounces once a day. See what that would do. See if it stops the bone loss, the tooth loss. And then, but see if you can stay in ketosis. Because I can stay in ketosis with 4 ounces. I can stay in ketosis with 6 ounces. Like I stay in. I never get bumped out of ketosis. I'm always in a therapeutic level of ketosis with what I'm eating. So I'd say try that. See if it makes a difference for a couple of weeks. Can't eat that right now, and it does kick you out of ketosis at 4 ounces. Trying to think. What about the carnivore bar? Have you tried any of those? Don't you have some of those? Do those kick you out, and are they too hard to chew? I think you might have to find the balance. Or maybe you could too hard on the tissue. Let me see. Okay, so Danny is the one that told me that H. pylori explodes with vinegar and hydrochloric acid. When I had my session with her, we are going to eventually record. Things have just been ridiculously busy. Sherry, what about egg pudding with whole eggs? I want you to do the steamed egg pudding. You can do it in a pressure cooker so you can do it in a pressure cooker, use whole eggs instead of whole yolks. So you would do a cup of whole eggs, and then you're going to do a cup of liquid. It can be bone broth. It can be, if you're doing any dairy, you could do that. Well, can you add flavors to it? Like you could do a cinnamon one. I do a cinnamon and sugar one, honestly. If you did that, then you'd be able to get more protein in, or just try eating some whole eggs. Can you handle the whites? I can't remember if you can do the whites. You may not be able to do the whites. Oh yes, do it with coffee and vanilla. See, Barb's a genius. I've been making that forever. Complete aversion. You've been eating it for too long. Okay, let me see. Have you ever tried protein powder? Have you tried like the Quest powder? I know usually I don't recommend that, but in your case, you need something. So we'd have to figure out something for you. Let me see. I'm catching up. Might be oxalate dumping, stealing the calcium to bind it. That is true. I mean, you were vegan, vegetarian, plant-based for a very, very, very long time. Years 3 to 5 of dumping are by far the worst. So you might actually need to start taking a calcium supplement that would stop it from leaching from your bones with your oxalate dumping. I finally ordered more Keto Mojo strips. I just stayed away from Starbucks all month. I'm sorry. But yes, Danny is the one that told me H. pylori explodes with vinegar and HCl. When we had our session together, she said, she was like, "You're not taking any HCl, are you?" And I said, "No, why?" And she was like, "You can't." She's like, "With H. pylori, you cannot, because it will make it explode like really bad." And then she mentioned that H. pylori can be spread through kissing. And I was like, "Oh, that's my husband's problem. That's fantastic." He's got bloating and he can't figure out why he's so bloated. It doesn't matter what he eats. Like he's always bloated. And so that's got to be what it is. So whenever we do the protocol for me, we're going to have to do it for him too. He drinks 2 to 3 servings of his drink every day, and his drink includes 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in it. So there is a very good chance that he's got a worse infection than I do. So, but yeah, it was actually Danny that told me about it, that it feeds on the vinegar. Yeah, when I talk to Dr. Boz, I'm going to talk to her about why, and I'm going to preface our whole meeting with, a lot of the people that you're reaching with your books are people who were on carbs. I have a whole different clientele. Like we are a whole different breed over here. We're the people who've been low carb for a long time and it's not working. So now we're getting into ketosis, but we're having all of these slightly different reactions to it. And I want to talk about all of those reactions, and I want to talk about that kind of stuff. So that's my goal with her, is to kind of set the stage for, we're not coming from carbs, we're coming from protein. And yet it's very interesting to see the correlations between the carbs and the protein, because our blood sugar numbers with too much protein individually are climbing very slowly. And that is very, very fascinating to me. So I definitely want to, my stomach hurts when I have apple cider vinegar. Totally. And the lemon water too. It like burns my stomach. I don't like it. So maybe that's my body saying, you have an infection. Let's not make it worse. But yeah. So So that's my plan. I have my whole list of things I'm going to talk to her about. I'm going to email again now that KetoCon is over. I'm going to message Angela. Be like, hi, I want to talk to her again. I have a million people with a million questions. Can we please talk about it? Okay, I'm all good on all that. Just wondering, oh yeah, sorry. I already read that one. How the infection can be so bad. Pathogens living in your gut can cause infections to be really bad, lowered immune system function, because of being plant-based for so long. You could have a serious imbalance in a lot of your biome, which will and can potentially affect your immune system. Yes, surely you can get H. pylori again. Everybody, or most everybody, actually has H. pylori. It's just whether or not it's in check. If it has exploded, if it's creating an imbalance, that's when there becomes a problem. So for a lot of people, it's not a super big problem, but it's kind of a problem. For other people, it's a bigger problem. So my number was, I wish that there was a way for me to share my screen on this, and I don't think that there is. I'll have to try to pull up hopefully you guys can still see me. I hope you can still see me. Let me see I'll pull up my test results real quick. That's the wrong one. Okay. There it is. My GI map. So for the H. pylori, it says that anything to be considered normal, it has to be less than 1.0 times 10 to the third. So it's got the little E and then the 3. One other person's that I've heard it was like 1.7 times E to, I don't know what it was. There was that one. Mine is 4.6 times E to the third. So at least I'm not like majorly out of bounds. I mean, it's, a significant amount. Yeah. So I had to do the GI mapping to find the H. pylori. I think that some doctors have the ability to order an H. pylori test, but it's through stool testing. And that is where you find out what your microbiome in your stomach is doing, if you have a good balance of all the bugs that are in there, because we do have a pretty good idea of some of the basic ones that should be in there. They say we have no idea. We actually do. We have an idea of what should be in there and what shouldn't be in there. You also have to keep in mind that based on your diet, your gut microbiome shifts in like 24 hours. So if you went from plant-based all the way over to carnivore, it's going to take 24 hours for your bugs to wake back up again, and then those ones are going to shut down. So you could get this test done several times in a row and get different results. But the H. pylori is, and some people have it, most people have it, and they don't even know that they have it. It's not until you really start having some weird effects. Like, I still kind of look like I'm pregnant, just a few months pregnant, but it's always there and it's annoying. And so between that and some indigestion, stuff like that, it kind of made me wonder if there was something going on. Richard's got horrible acid reflux. He has horrible indigestion, and that's and like gas, bloating. There's some other things, but that's kind of the classic hallmarks of H. pylori. So you can absolutely get it again. It'll probably never be eradicated. And the imbalance, there's a couple of different ways to fix it. You can go on a course of antibiotics. It's like a 14-day course of antibiotics. I'm not doing that. That is the standard treatment for H. pylori. My immune system is already tanked. I don't need to do that because I can be exposed to some pretty nasty things and still handle it. I am not about to mess with my immune system by taking antibiotics. Or you can work with a functional medicine practitioner, and there are all kinds of protocols, herbs, and things like that that will kill off the H. pylori. I think that there's like some teas, some follow-up medications. It takes a little while for you to get it kind of under control, but most people only need to be treated for it once, because once you fix the imbalance, then you're okay. Yeah, exactly. The natural antibiotics, it's going to be plant-based, the olive leaf extract, oregano oil, garlic. Exactly. So that's what it'll be. It'll be a tea, and then it'll be some of those other herbs that will help to kill that off without killing off everything else. I know that Danny's treated a lot of people with H. pylori, and they've all come back, and a bunch of them are in my group, and they're like, I feel so much better now that it's gone and I'm doing well. So I definitely plan on doing her protocol when I can afford it, because I have to do it for 2 people, not just one, because H. pylori can be spread through kissing. So my husband probably has it worse than I do based on his symptoms and his intake of the acid. So definitely going to have to treat him too. And I'm still waiting on the insurance to tell me, yes, you're approved and you can go see a doctor. Thank goodness the occult blood, I think that was like a one-off thing, because everything looks totally normal now every time I have a bowel movement. It was literally, it looked like Hershey's chocolate syrup that day. It was that same color when I took the stool sample. So it didn't really surprise me. It hasn't looked like that since. It looks like beach sand now, like the lighter pale brown. So I'm not worried about it. I'll get to the doctor when I get to the doctor to get my clearance, and then start working with Danny when I can afford it. Is that found through a blood test or what? Yeah, that's the stool test. You're such a blessing. Aw, you're so sweet. You're welcome, Keto Mama. H. pylori is a bug that lives in your tummy. That's what it is. That is usually there, but it shouldn't be prevalent. And mine is prevalent. So basically a bug. Exactly. Oh, like Candida. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's just when it goes out of control that there's an issue. Let me see. Mine was a breath test. I took antibodies, but forgot to ask if it would come back. Gotcha. Yeah. I'm not about to touch the antibiotics. You cannot visible in your stool. Your English, girl. Your grammar. Oh my gosh. I got to go eat dinner soon. I know. We'll get off here pretty soon. I'm going to go spend some time with my husband before he goes to work. That was 2 years before I knew better. Isn't it always 2 years before we knew better? At least. It's one of the only bacteria that thrives in acidic environments, which is so funny. It's like, it's like those little shrimp that live at the bottom of the ocean next to the volcanoes where the water's like 400 degrees. There's these little shrimp living around the vents of these volcanoes, thriving at 400 degrees. Right? Just insane. And then you've got water bears that can live in space. But hey. So H. pylori proliferates only if you feed it well, potentially. If you eat way too high of an acidic diet, that could be. He's been doing the apple cider vinegar since we went keto 3.5 years ago. At least 2 tablespoons every single day. And everyone's like, oh yeah, you can have blood in your stool that is not visible to the eye. You know what? Don't pop my bubble. Because I can't go until I get the insurance, okay? So, don't pop my bubble. I need another drink. I'm going to choke on my own spit. I don't even know what our topic is for tonight, please. What is it? I don't know. Oh, label lies. That's what it is. I'm choking on my spit. Yes, tonight in the VIPs, we're talking about label lies and how to decode some of those labels and all the labels. Oh my gosh. Like eat heart healthy grains and how they come up with the term heart healthy, which we all know is a lie. Okay. I should probably let you guys go. I just finished up school with the kids before I came upstairs. I think that they had a few things that they were drawing for me based off the story that I read. So I'm going to go check their stuff. I'm going to go spend some time with my husband, possibly make him some pork belly as well. He doesn't seem to be as nearly as affected by the Redmond seasoned salt. Jerk face. But he got the H. pylori worse than I did, so I guess we're even. But anyways, I hope you guys have a fantastic evening and weekend. And then I'll see you on Sunday, as usual, again for a live, same time, same place. Yeah, so I love you all. Have a fantastic evening, and I'll see you guys next time.